Welcome to In the Zone with Anthony. It has been a while, but now the football season is getting ready to ramp up. And we're going to take a look at some college football, some NFL football. Look at some previews. Look at what's happening in the college landscape. And to get things started, we'll look at HBCU resurgence that goes well beyond prime time. So let us just go ahead and take a look at this as we get started in the zone with yours truly, Anthony. Glad to be back with you in the zone. Commercials, talk show appearances, a documentary, and the spring game on ESPN. Since becoming head coach at Jackson State in 2020, Deion Sanders has commanded the spotlight in a way reminiscent of his flamboyant NFL career. So it is no surprise that roughly 2.6 million tuned in to the Celebration Bowl, the December matchup between champions of the MEAC and SWAC, a record for the game. The real surprise came when long-tenured coach Oliver Buddy Pugh's South Carolina State Bulldogs stole the show in the 31-10 romp of Sanders' Jackson State Tigers. The week of the Celebration Bowl, we had a press conference beforehand, and they had all the media hype. All the cameras were pointed at them, said Bulldog linebacker B.J. Davis. We took it as motivation, and it fueled us. It was not necessarily a thought we might have a chance. We were double-digit underdogs, Pugh said. Our guys were really attentive to their task because they thought they had such an uphill battle. We saw so many great things that they were doing on film. The Celebration Bowl instead became the platform for Bulldogs like Davis, Corey Fields Jr., and FCS tackles for loss leader Jablonski Green to be exposed to 2.6 million viewers. It also secured Pugh's third black national championship, an honor dating back more than a century, landing the coach in company with pioneers Fred T. Long and Lewis L. Watson. In addition, the bowl game route culminated a stretch in December that highlighted Pugh's profound impact on the sport, coming just days after Florida and Virginia hired former SCSU assistant Billy Napier and Tony Elliott. I have so much respect for Buddy, not only his experience at South Carolina, where Pugh was an assistant from 1997 to 2001 with Brad Scott and Lou Holtz, but also he was a legendary high school coach who ran a great program, Napier said. Influence from the Pugh coaching tree reaching into the Power Five is just one of many HBCU storylines unfolding below the fold of Sanders' headline-dominating presence. This is an era of resurgence, as Florida A&M coach Willie Simmons described it. With the attention that Coach Prime has brought to Jackson State, it's not only raised their profile, but the rest of ours as well, said Simmons. It's not just Jackson State people are looking at, it's HBCU football. Simmons' Rattler played a prominent role in 2021. FAMU took Jackson State to the wire week 1 in the nationally televised matchup that ultimately determined the SWAC championship. And while the Tigers' 7-6 win denied the Rattlers a berth in the Celebration Bowl, FAMU became the final SWAC member to participate in the FCS playoffs since 1997. The program's collective success helped linebacker Isaiah Land to individual accolades as the winner of the Buck Buchanan Award, given to the best defensive player in FCS. Land is just the fourth HBCU representative to win the honor named for a Grambling legend. But reflective of a resurgence, Land was the second such honoree in a row. Jordan Lewis won for the 2020 season, Jackson State quarterback Shedeur Sanders, meanwhile, was the winner of the 2021 Jerry Rice Award given to the top FCS freshman and named for another HBCU legend, Mississippi Valley State. Simmons sees growing national prominence on the gridiron translating to the universities. FAMU quarterback Rashawn McKay embodies that idea. Under the radar as a recruit, McKay walked on with the Rattlers to attend a strong journalism program and to continue a family tradition. My older brother graduated from here. My grandmother graduated from here. My grandpa. Almost everybody on my dad's side of the family, he said. After passing for 2,457 yards and 22 touchdowns, McKay leads the Rattlers into 2022 with a couple of high-profile dates from the jump. FAMU opens at North Carolina, then faces Jackson State the Sunday before Labor Day in the Orange Blossom Classic on ESPN. That one point would have been us getting rings and not getting rings, McKay said, alluding to last year's 7-6 loss to Jackson State. I always want to play for a ring. I ain't get it last year, so I'm definitely getting it this year. It is a primetime showcase with Coach Prime and beyond for continuing the growing prominence of HBCU football. We hope that our football program is that thing that makes people in the Northeast, the Midwest, the West Coast say, let me see what this FAMU is all about, Simmons said. And this season, the national exposure grows through matchups like Alabama State's historic visit to UCLA in Week 2 and Notre Dame's first ever game against an HBCU program in 2023 when the Irish face Tennessee State. It makes students want to learn about our top-notch engineering school, agriculture school, communications, business program, Simmons said, and that's consistent across the board, not just for Jackson State and FAMU. So that's how we get things started here in the zone as we take a look at the resurgence of HBCU football. In addition to that, how about some look into what to expect as far as HBCU is concerned. If I can kindly pull that up, because the landscape is definitely looking up for HBCU football. And it is also being held as the Road to Atlanta 2022 preseason HBCU football rankings. The HBCU football season is nearly here, and it's time to make the first HBCU football power rankings of 2022. These will be done weekly throughout the regular season, sorting each HBCU football team at the FCS level based on their performance, nicknamed the Road to Atlanta. The weekly power rankings lead to the annual meeting of HBCU football's two best teams at this year's Celebration Bowl in Atlanta. All records listed are 2021 fall records. All previous rankings are from the 2021 season-ending power rankings. So the HBCU top three, which is a no-brainer, Jackson State in the SWAC, 12-2 last year. Previous ranked 3. Jackson State enters the 2022 HBCU football season as the top-ranked team. The Tigers went undefeated in the SWAC last year before losing in the Celebration Bowl. Plenty of talent from that team returns for head coach Deion Sanders. Quarterback Shedeur Sanders enters the year in the conversation for the best quarterback in the entire FCS with weapons all around. Wide receiver Malachi Weidman led the team in touchdown last year, and the offense features newcomers like transfer running back Savion Wilkerson, a first-team All-MEAC selection at Delaware State in 2021, and four-star wide receiver recruit Kevin Coleman. On defense, linebacker Audrey Miller is as consistent as they come. Moreover, defensive backs Shiloh Sanders, Cameron Silman Craig, and DeJuan Warren all return in the secondary. Secondary adds Travis Hunter, a preseason FCS All-American and the highest-rated recruit in FCS history. Jackson State's influx of talent combined with last season's success earns the Tigers the top spot. Number 2, Florida A&M, SWAC, 9-3, previous one. Florida A&M is coming off an FCS playoff appearance in 2021. The Rattlers return Buck Buchanan award-winning linebacker Isaiah Land as one of the top players in the nation. While the defense did lose safety Marquise Bell to the NFL, head coach Willie Simmons grabbed Iowa State transfer Kim Manny King to replace him. King joins a secondary featuring an all-elite HBCU cornerback in B.J. Bowler, making Florida A&M's defense a strength again in 2022. However, the Rattlers still face questions offensively. The skill position should be set with wideouts Xavier Smith and Jamari Shareed back and running back A.J. Davis transferred in from Pittsburgh to help ease the loss of Bishop Benet. Yet, Florida A&M still has concerns about the quarterback position. Rashawn McKay was the primary starter under center in 2021, but he's currently in a quarterback competition with Junior Murtovic. McKay was benched for Murtovic at a point last season, and Vanderbilt transfer Jeremy Musa. While they say if you have two quarterbacks, in this case 3+, you have none. Florida A&M's defense is strong enough that the Rattlers enter the year ranked second. South Carolina State, MEAC, 7-5. South Carolina State is the defending Celebration Bowl and MEAC champions. So why do they begin the year ranked third? One reason is that the Bulldogs struggled in their non-conference schedule last year, finishing with a 7-5 record in 2022. South Carolina State plays 3 non-conference FCS HBCUs, Bethune-Cookman, North Carolina A&T, and Florida A&M. And a win in each game can send a statement across the HBCU landscape. To do so, the Bulldogs will have to recover from the loss of MEAC Defensive Player of the Year and NFL draft pick Jacoby Durant. However, it won't be the first time head coach Buddy Pugh has dealt with a loss to the NFL. See Leonard Darius. And South Carolina State has plenty of other returning talent. Running backs Kendall Flowers, wide receiver Shaq Davis, and defensive end Jablonski Green should all have big years. So, tell you what I'm going to do right here. I am going to take a break. And when I come back, I will give you some more of this power ranking. And it's a list of 20, but I'm going to give you a list of 10 so we can move on in to our other college football look as well too. So stay tuned. It is In the Zone with yours truly, Anthony Smith. Be right back. Welcome back to In the Zone with Anthony, as we're looking at college football preview, and we're starting things off looking at HBCU football, teams from the MAC, MEAC, SWAC, and the conferences in between. Hope you're enjoying yourself as you are locked in the zone. So let's just get back into some more of these power rankings. Coming in at the number 4 spot, would be Alabama A&M. Last year they were 7-3. Alabama A&M gets the 4th spot in 2022 despite losing star quarterback Akil Glass. On offense, the Bulldogs still return running back Gary Quarles and wide receiver Abdul Fateh Ibrahim, 2 of the best among HBCUs at their positions. Yet, who will replace Glass? Alabama A&M's starting quarterback entering Week 1 could be anyone. Quincy Casey is a 2021 Jackson State transfer who threw an interception in his 3 passes last year. Karan Taylor transfers in this year from Illinois, but played defensive back in 2021. And Xavier Langford has only thrown 12 passes in his Bulldog career. Luckily, Alabama A&M opens the season with 2 FBS opponents, creating a potential opportunity for the quarterback competition to get a bit longer if things remain dicey. However, the tandem minds of head coach Connell Maynard and offensive coordinator Dwayne Taylor should be able to figure things out. Quality coaching plus the insane amount of transfers that the Bulldogs got over the offseason gets Alabama A&M the 4th spot. Number 5, North Carolina A&T from the Big South, 5-6 last year. For the first time since 2011, North Carolina A&T had a losing season, going 5-6. It also was the first time the Aggies played in the Big South. In 2022, the Aggies and those in the Big South envisioned a bounce-back season as North Carolina A&T is the preseason favorite to win the conference. The Aggies will open the season against North Carolina Central, one of 3 HBCU opponents on the schedule in 2022, after finishing last year 2-1 against HBCU opponents. The biggest test on North Carolina A&T's schedule is by far defending national champion North Dakota State on September the 10th. With a loaded schedule and a quarterback competition brewing, head coach Sam Washington will have his work cut out for him in 2022. Number 6, Alcorn State from the SWAC, 6-5 last year. Alcorn State is the first team in the preseason rankings from the wide-open SWAC West. The Braves lose starting quarterback Felix Harper, but return all-conference running back Nico Duffy. It's not the first time head coach Fred McNair has had to replace talent, and he's consistently proven himself as a great coach. Alcorn State should be in the conversation for the SWAC West title come November. Number 7, Southern, SWAC, 4-7 last year. Southern has been one of the trendiest teams in HBCU football this offseason, but the Jaguars still finished 4-7 last year. So what changed? It starts at the top. Southern nabbed head coach Eric Dooley from 2021 SWAC West champion Prairie View A&M. Then the Jaguars were active in the transfer portal. The biggest move was all SWAC defensive lineman Jason Dumas, following his head coach to Southern. Dumas combines with spring 2021 Buck Buchanan Award winner Jordan Lewis to create nightmares to opposing offensive line coaches when trying to figure out who to double team. Southern made another big move in the transfer portal when a pair of Bowie State defensive backs, Jordan Carter and Dimitri Morcell, transferred in. In 2019, Morcell was arguably the best player in all of Division II football, and he's back to full strength in 2022. He and Carter bolstered the Jaguar secondary. Like most of the top 10 teams, Southern is also trying to find its new quarterback for 2022. Bubba McDaniel is the most experienced in the competition, but Deshaun McCray was a junior college All-American last year, and Noah Bowden showed potential at times at Grambling State in 2021. We saw what Coach Dooley could do with a quarterback in 1 year last year at Prairie View. All eyes will be on Dooley's new team in 2022 as Southern tries to rise to the top. Number 8, North Carolina Central from the MEAC, 6-5. North Carolina Central has one thing all but 2 other top 10 teams have: stability with the returning quarterback. Davius Richard is back under center after throwing for 2,133 yards and accounting for 23 total touchdowns. In 2021, the Eagles lost by only 3 points to the eventual Celebration champion and won the MEAC SWAC Challenge. North Carolina Central also won its last 3 games to end the season. If the Eagles can carry that momentum into 2022, they could be in Atlanta come December. Number 9, Tennessee State, Ohio Valley, 5-6. 2021 marked head coach Eddie George's first year at the helm. Tennessee State finished 5-6, but was in the OVC Conference title race entering November. The Tigers returned standouts at running back in Devon Starling, guard in Robert Lacey, and linebacker in James Green, to name a few. Tennessee State also reloads at the quarterback position with Austin Peay transfer Draylon Ellis, the 2020 OVC Co-Freshman of the Year in 2020, and a 2021 second-team All-OVC pick. Tennessee State starts the season with a big-time non-conference game against Eastern Washington, followed by the Southern Heritage Classic against Jackson State. Tigers will play 2 FCS HBCUs this year, and wins will be pivotal to rise in this year's rankings. And coming in at number 10, Prairie View A&M, SWAC, 7-5. 2021 SWAC West champion Prairie View A&M enters 2022 just inside the top 10. The Panthers ended last year on a downswing, losing 4 straight games. In the offseason, the Panthers lost their head coach to a rival SWAC team. Their starting quarterback, Jawan Pass, exhausted his eligibility, and all-conference safety Drake Cheatham transferred to the FBS level. Despite the loss, Prairie View A&M did win its division last year, and talent from that team remains. However, the SWAC West only got tougher, presenting a new challenge for the Panthers. So, there you have a top 10 list in the power rankings. And I hope you have found some of this content thus far very informational and very helpful, because I would love to hear your feedback as to what you think. But what I'm going to do now is I want to take a look at HBCU football championship history. Football at historically black colleges and universities, better known as HBCUs, has been played since the early 1900s, overcoming adversity to produce numerous champions. Let's take a look at the championship history of HBCU football across its major conferences. Throughout the history of HBCU football, many teams have claimed black college football national champions. At times, multiple teams have claimed the black college football championship, leading to frequent debates over what program is the best team in the sport. Rather than diving into the black college football title discussion, sparking further debates, this article looks at the conference champions across the MEAC and SWAC, in the FCS and the CIAA and the SIAC in Division II. The MEAC championship history. Here's a list of the MEAC champions. South Carolina State has the most championships, 18, after winning the 2021 conference title. So here is the list right here. Total champions, 18, school, South Carolina State. Next, 11. That would be North Carolina A&T. Next is Bethune-Cookman with 8. North Carolina Central, 5 total champions. Morgan State, Delaware State tied with 4 championships. Howard with 2 championships. Then the complete championship history. And it is kind of lengthy. So I am going to kind of break this down into probably just the important ones as we what we're going to do is I'm going to look at the history, the SWAC championship history. Then I'm going to go on to the Celebration Bowl history. And at that point, I will probably take a break. So when you look at other champions, you look at the Southwest Athletic Conference, and here's the list of SWAC champions. Grambling State has the most championships, 25. Jackson State won the 2021 SWAC championship, defeating Prairie View A&M 27-10. So, how does it stack up? Well, Grambling State has 25, followed by Southern with 20, Jackson State with 18, and I could expect that number to start growing. Alcorn State 13, Prairie View A&M 11, Wiley College, Langston are tied with 10, Texas College 4, Texas Southern 3, Alabama A&M and Alabama State, Arkansas Pine Bluff, Paul Quinn College. They're tied with 2, Bishop College and Sam Houston tied with 1. So, what I'm going to do right here, I'm going to go ahead and take another break. And when I come back, I am going to have some more for you. We're looking at some football previews and some history from HBCU. Next week, though, we'll be looking at college football, the major conference, Power 5 conferences. But let's get through the day. When I come back, I will have some more on HBCU. Thank you. Welcome back to In the Zone with yours truly, Anthony Smith, on a hot, steamy Saturday evening. Usually there's a reference that goes like this. It's hot as hell outside. And for the sake of some of you who say, well, why is he talking like that? Well, if you Google up Hale, Michigan, right, there's a town in Michigan called Hale. Here in Wichita, Kansas, where I'm at, it is like 100 degrees. If it's not 100, it's close. If you were to Google the temperature in Hale, Michigan, I'm pretty sure it's nowhere near 100. So the reference, "it's hot as hell," is literally and figuratively a true statement. So as I promised, back with some more HBCU. I'm just enjoying this because a lot of people don't talk HBCU sports, especially to the extent that I'm doing it right now, which is why I think this is just all the more better, because unless you were in an HBCU community, say like a Langston University, Jackson State, Grambling, here in where I'm at, the Midwest, the only thing you hear about is Kansas, Kansas State, Wichita State, Oklahoma State. So a lot of people say maybe you should talk about things on your podcast that is related to the demographics that you're in. But why limit myself to demographics? So therefore, I kind of think, still on the line from a segment I have on another podcast, I tend to think outside the box. Everybody's talking about the Big 12. Everybody's talking about the Big 10. Everybody's talking about the Pac-12. That's normal. All you're doing is getting different perspectives from what people is talking about on the same conferences. And at the end of the day, when you wrap up everything that they say in a nutshell, at least 7 times out of 10, they're all pretty much saying the same thing, coming up with the same prediction, and you really got nothing except oneness. What everybody's saying is the same thing. So I like to step outside the box and talk about what's not talked about in this area in hopes that someone will get a hold of this and will enjoy it and will spread it and share it, and it'll be something that y'all would look forward to. So, getting back into it, the Celebration Bowl, since 2015, the MEAC and SWAC conference champions face off in a postseason football clash known as the Celebration Bowl. In the Celebration Bowl, two of the premier HBCU football programs in a particular year at the FCS level meet to determine who is the best. Traditionally, the game is in Atlanta, Georgia, a hub for HBCU culture. The Celebration Bowl celebrates great football and HBCU tradition on a national stage. South Carolina State's 2021 victory over brings the MEAC's record against the SWAC to 5-1 in the all-time series. Here's a list of Celebration Bowl champions. 2021, South Carolina State. 2020, it was canceled due to COVID. In 2019, North Carolina State of the MEAC. 2018, North Carolina A&T of the MEAC. 2017, yep, you guessed it, North Carolina A&T of the MEAC. 2016, Grambling State, SWAC, as they won their game. Let me just go ahead and back up. So, in 2021, South Carolina State of the MEAC knocked off Jackson State from the SWAC, 31-10. And of course, as I told you, it was canceled in 2020 due to COVID. 2019, North Carolina A&T of the MEAC defeated Alcorn State from the SWAC 64-44 in what would be considered a high-scoring affair. Then we look at 2018, and once again, who is it? North Carolina A&T of the MEAC 24, Alcorn State from the SWAC 22. Then, as a three-peat, well, no, they didn't quite. Yes, they did three-peat. 2017, North Carolina A&T from the MEAC knocked off Grambling State from the SWAC, 21-14. And in the rematch, in 2016, same two teams, Grambling State from the SWAC won the game over North Carolina, actually over North Carolina Central. My fault. They won that game 10-9. North Carolina Central from the MEAC. And in 2015, as if you can't get enough of this school, say their name. North Carolina A&T from the MEAC knocks off Alcorn State. Boy, those two teams just love meeting up in that big-time game out there. Knocked off Alcorn State from the SWAC, 41-34. So there's the history of the Celebration Bowl and how it is fared. And like I said, last year was its biggest draw television-wise and probably in attendance as well. So now let's look at some of the Division II HBCU football. HBCU football at Division II level also has a storied history led by two conferences, the CIAA and the SIAC. The CIAA is the oldest HBCU football conference. Both the CIA and the SIAC have former members who now play in the FCS that previously won conference championships. So here is the CIAA championship history. Morgan State, 19 championships. Hampton, 13. Virginia State, Winston-Salem, 12. Virginia Union, 10. North Carolina Central, 8. Shaw, North Carolina A&T, 5. Bowie State, Norfolk State, 4. Fayetteville State, Maryland Eastern Shore, 3. Livingstone, West Virginia State, with 2. Johnson C. Smith and Elizabeth City State, Howard, Delaware State, all with 1 apiece. And now we look at the SIAC championship history. And here's the list of AC champions. Tuskegee has the most championships with 28. Albany State won the 2021 SIAC championship, ending Miles' attempt at a three-peat. So here are the schools. Tuskegee, 28. Florida A&M, 27. Albany State, 15. Fort Valley State, 12. Alabama A&M, 10. Morehouse and Miles, 7. Fisk, 6. Clark Atlanta, Alabama State, 5. Morris Brown also has a good band. Knoxville, 4. Bethune-Cookman, 3. Talladega, 2. And Lane, 1. So I hope you find this piece of history very informative as it relates to HBCU football. Well, my time is growing near as I must get ready for work. But I hope you have enjoyed being locked in the zone with yours truly, Anthony Smith. Until next week, always remember to stay locked in the zone. I will be back with more content, more football news, most likely some more HBCU news as it unfolds, and also look at the Power 5 schools, Power 5 conferences as we get geared up for the football season, throwing a little bit of NFL. But until next time, stay blessed and always stay locked in the zone.